Hello, Abigail here with the astrology for this week. I have my handy dandy notebook. We are going to be going over the astrology for the week of February 3rd to February 9th. I like to go Monday to Sunday. I just find it works better. I don't really feel like Sunday starts the week, but that's just me. Anyways, we start off on Monday with Mercury trine Jupiter. This, I think, is a much needed kind of breath of fresh air. Mercury is in Aquarius, Jupiter is in Gemini. Jupiter is still retrograde. However, this week it stations direct. Very happy about that. Is Mars still retrograde and going to be until February 23rd? Yes. Am I thrilled that we now have Uranus direct and this we will have Jupiter direct? Yes. It is definitely going to kind of freshen up the energy that all kind of kicked off with the Aquarius new moon last week. So I'm very excited. It doesn't mean that we're gonna like have lightning progression forward, but it does mean that, we do get kind of this fresh, much needed influx of energy and um almost like, the reserves have shown up in a very tiring time. So if you're feeling tired and you still don't feel like this is enough, that's fine. But we do get this kind of freshness and this trine with Mercury, we get to really do some serious thinking. This is a great aspect for planning. With Jupiter retrograde, we are still reconsidering, you know, our desires and our, craving for abundance moving forward and what that means for us. But this is a great day to really dig in to what you want, to what you need, to the things that are required for your growth moving forward. Um, you know, there's nothing extra special about Mercury in Aquarius. It's not domicile, it's not exalted, it's neither, it's not in fall or in detriment, but it is a really strong planning Mercury. It is an ability to take thought and idea and really impart it in a really concrete and long lasting way. So the things that you're planning and thinking and digesting at this time really have great potential to become reality in the future. That's what I really love about an Aquarius Mercury. Then we, on the same day, on Monday, we do have Mars square Chiron. Mars is still retrograde. And Chiron is still around the point that it was at because it moves very slowly. And we had that retrograde as well, excuse me, is still around the point of the eclipses that we had last year in Aries. So take that as you will. There is this continued story about, individuating um, through our trauma, about allowing ourselves to be who we are because of what we've experienced, and also not allowing people to use those experiences to guilt or shame us. Now, in a square, it is tricky. However, without squares, we do not get traction. So even if they are hard, they give us the tension that we need to make change, to do things. Now, on this day, I don't think we're doing a whole lot as far as it comes to this, but this is really sitting with what action needs to be taken for our needs and desires and our pain and trauma to be met and understood. Mars in fall in Cancer is Reggie. He has a that's my dog. He has a little, I don't know if you can hear him. He has a tracheal issue and he's choking in the background. Reggie, mommy loves you, okay? Okay? Yeah, he's delicious and small and also interrupts these videos a lot. Anyways, with this square, Mars and, detriment in Mars and falling Cancer. Um, is it happy? Is it its most comfortable? No, but it is a Mars that cares. It is a Mars that nurtures. It is a Mars that is forced to slow down to do what is necessary to make us feel whole and held. So allow yourself to slow down. Do not push past your pain on this day. If you can, sit in it. Let it become something that is healing rather than just something that constantly drains you. And no, you don't have to alchemize all pain. I don't think that's good or functional. But allow your pain to receive care. Allow your pain to be nurtured. Something that's kind of been coming up in the tarot readings that I do is, you can't, not all wounds are capable of being healed, but you can't even tend to a wound if the knife is still in it. And it's a very scary place to take a knife out of a wound because once you do that, all of the damage is apparent and you can bleed out. But you have to take the knife out of the wound in order to start to tend to that. And maybe it is a wound that never heals, but it deserves care and it deserves nurture. And that's what I would like you to take away on this day. And then we move into Tuesday, which I'm really excited for this, even though it does mean we are closer to the Venus retrograde. We do have Venus entering into Aries. Venus will station retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries once we hit March. But this is going to be a really, at least for me, difficult but beautiful retrograde. And Venus in Aries is detriment. It is my personal Venus. This is my Venus return. So I have a soft spot for detriment Venuses, but this is a Venus that fights. This is a Venus that loves wildly and with all of its teeth and claws. And it's a Venus that is a fighter and that does not back down and is maybe a little obsessive. Am I projecting? Um, so this is a really intense and beautiful time to connect to yourself. It's also a time to know that we are going to be having a Venus retrograde. So know that this is a part of the Venus retrograde story. The things that we are dealing with and discovering now, we are going to have to revisit and deal with again. Um, but allow yourself to care. I think with Venus in Aries and Mars in Cancer, what these detriment fall planets teach us is that sometimes it is worth the pain and the frustration to truly care, to truly love with abandon, to truly dig into our communities and our friends and our families and our lovers with passion. And yeah, there's always a risk. Detriment planets are risky, but would you rather have never experienced that at all to save yourself the pain, or would you rather have that experience? And I think that's what detriment and fall planets teach us, that some things are worth sacrificing for. Um, and so it's time to love wildly and passionately and to allow ourselves to have fun. Also, I tend to like to read erotic literature when Venus is retrograde. Find out what your Venus retrograde thing is. I find that a lot of people have it, they just aren't aware. So maybe you're starting to feel like you need to crochet or knit or do something spicy. Who knows? Venus in Aries is a great time to find out. Detriment is basically just the planet not acting the way we would not in a space it would typically be in. Oftentimes with, Venus and Taurus and Venus and Libra, there's this softness and this harmony and this kind of love for the lush. And Venus and Aries is like tearing it all off, being like, I don't care what I have. All I want is to feel feelings. um, and even if you have other planets that temper this, there is that deep little creature that is, same with people with Mars in Cancer. There is a little creature inside that is just resistant to all things. And on the same day, we get Jupiter direct, which is great. Jupiter has been in Gemini for a hot second now. Yes, it is in detriment. Yes, can it be frustrating? However, it is a beautiful opportunity to do things differently, to approach abundance and growth from a multitude of perspectives. This is a great Jupiter for diversifying the ways in which we exist and making an ecosystem that is not a monoculture, that has, in farming and in growing and the tending of plants. And this is the same with livestock. Can you tell I was raised on a farm for a little bit? If you have a monoculture, so a singular culture or a singular crop or a singular type of animal, you can end up in big trouble if disease or disaster hits because all of it will be gone. But if you have a multiculture, a multitude of different grains and plants and animals, you will be buffered from life and disaster to a certain degree because of that diversity, because of those differences. And so Jupiter in Gemini is this diversifying of things. And I'm not talking about hustle culture, having 6 jobs. So if one job goes out, and I want to be clear, hustle culture is not a culture. It is a survival mechanism created because we live in, late stage capitalism where we have been so exploited that we can't just do the basics of one job and have a good life. We have to exhaust ourselves and do many. Off of that soapbox. But Jupiter and Gemini is teaching us to find new and different ways to create joy, to find community, to nurture the things that we desire. And is it a little all over the place? Yes, but it is teaching us these valuable lessons, and it going direct, it allows us to now start to find new, we're not out of the shadow period, but we do now get to put those things into practice to kind of flex our abundant fingers and our expansiveness and see how these things start to function in our lives and in the world. So it is the time to try new things. It is the time to throw off old ways of thinking and doing things, and to believe in the importance of individuality, not for the sake of individuality, but as an asset to the whole. Sounds like socialism, communism. Yes. And then on Friday, we have Neptune conjunct the North Node. This just feels really expansive and hopeful to me. Yes, is there some obscurity? Does Neptune kind of create such an expanded dream world that, you know, we can get lost a little? But is that such a bad thing? It is time to sink into our dreams, and not just dreams of this moment, but dreams that we can project into the future, and to believe in kind of the unimaginable, believe in the things that we can't see physically in front of us. This is also a great and beautiful time if you're an artist of any kind, even if you're not, to create something, to bring something to life. It can be music, art. Neptune is deeply connected to music. If you're a musical artist, this is the time to just let go of your inhibitions and create something truly authentic to you with this North Node conjunct Pisces. But this goes for everyone. Also, this is the conjunction. They will still be transiting each other for a hot second. Um, so let that flow. Let that, you know, beautiful, um, the beautiful intangibles of Neptune overtake you. Allow yourself to dream. Not everything needs to be so practical, especially with, the sun in a Saturnian sign, Mercury in the Saturnian sign. Not everything needs to be practical in order to be functional. And not everything needs to be functional in order to be an absolute good and wonderful and beautiful thing. And this is also our last, monthish or so of Neptune and Aries, Neptune and Pisces, sorry. But it will be going to Aries. We will have it retrograding back. But for now, these are our kind of our pinnacle moments of this Neptune cycle. So enjoy them. Dream dreams you never thought were possible. Um, and let that energy flow, and do things intuitively, especially towards the end of the week. Follow your instincts and your desires, and go with the flow of what the universe has to offer. That North Node conjunction is leading us into a future that we cannot imagine. And it is both terrifying and there's such a craving and a desire for something I have never had. And I've always had that, but especially in North Node moments, that feeling for me is heightened. And maybe it is for you too. And then on Sunday, we have one of my favorite aspects. It is the Mercury Cazimi. This is Mercury conjunct the Sun. Cazimi is an Arabic word that means heart of. Heart of. So it is in the heart of the Sun with a Mercury Cazimi. Um, and it's a moment of inspiration and understanding. Maybe it's not a massive kind of download or insight, but I find on Kazemi days that some of the most sweet and beautiful things happen. Yes, it's in a Saturn ruled sign. Maybe it is something bigger and more longer lasting, but combined with the fact that the North Node will still be transiting in Pisces, and obviously they're not connected by degree, but that over in Pisces with the Kazemi over in Aquarius, there's a great ability to harness our thoughts and our beliefs and our feelings towards something that we desire. And not only that, but to get information from the universe on how we take this this kind of massive amount of energy and put it into practice and push ourselves forward with the universe into a more expanded future. And I know we're sitting in a time where none of this seems possible, but that is the trick of that North Node. It is not what you can see in Pisces, it is what you know and believe to be true, even if you don't know what that is. And also on this day, we get Mars trine Saturn. So there is so much energy in this week for change and shift and for harnessing things to move forward. Yes, Mars is still retrograde, so it's not all going to move at once, but we are gearing up for the summer and the fall basically now. And yes, we have the Venus retrograde, another Mercury retrograde in March and ending in April for both of those. But, you know, this is that time to do Saturnian things, to make those plans, to write things down, to internalize them, especially this week. If you have inspiration or ideas, just jot them down. The downside of Neptune is that you can have those ideas and thoughts, but they will disappear into the ether, and maybe you can use them subconsciously, but you will very rarely be able to dig back down and pull out exactly what that was. So just take notes this week. Mars trine Saturn, there is an opportunity for so much real change and building. And Mars retrograde in Cancer, it is care and, you know, a determination to do what you need to do no matter how long it takes or how many times you have to redo it. Is it easy? No. Is it in a trine? Yes. So we do actually have an ability to move forward. It's just knowing that with that retrograde and with it being in Cancer, it's not going to be your typical progression that we would expect with Mars. It is about committing to doing the thing that needs to be done for the care of us, for the care of those around us, and creating, we talked about systems earlier, systems and structures and pathways that are equitable and free and progressive, not progressive in how we see it politically, but progressive as in forward moving and for the collective. Um, this is that time to start to bring those to light with that Mercury Cazimi. It's the time to kind of slowly but surely, move those forward and really, connect and dig into that. Yeah, I lost my train of thought for a second there. That's what happens when I get all zhuzhed up talking about North Node things. I space out. Anyways, these are really beautiful moments. They're happening, very much in kind of that Aries, Pisces, Aquarius with those pings off of that Mars. So definitely pay attention to where this is happening in your chart, especially looking at that kind of lineup. It's going to be in a certain quadrant or area of your chart, so see what's being affected. For me, it's, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So a lot of things about the day to day and relationships and karmic bonds. I am a past life worker. This week is going to be rife with past life themes and inspirations and dreams. So if that's something you're interested in, keep a little cosmic eye out for that. All right, my loves, that is the astrology this week, and I will see you in a different space and time. As always, please subscribe and like this video and pop any questions you have in the comments. I love to answer them.